Today we continue to study Genesis chapter 1 verse 2. The title is the earth. The earth. Let's look at the King James Translate Bible on the Genesis chapter 1 verse 2. Let's read it together. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the water. So the one we are about to study is the this one, tofu. And the earth status is the whose status? The first Adam status, right? First Adam, which is the natural man status. Natural man. And let's read from the Hebrew text before we start today's sermon. Beha-aretz, 호이타, 토fu, 바보후, 베호shek. So last time we studied Beha-aretz, which is the earth, and hoita comes from the haya. The verb is haya. Haya means exist, right? Exist. Is it perfect or imperfect? Perfect, right? Perfect. So the earth status exists already. Action has completed, right? The status has already done. And talking about the status of earth is these three words, right? Three words. Tofu. King James translated as without form, but the one we are going to study today. And then babohu and bohu, behushek and hushek. So those already what? The status has completed, right? The earth status. Okay. And then the hoita, which comes from the haya. So hoita, he is what? Hoping, right? Hoping. So exist, the goal hoping. So the goal of hoping. Okay. So what is the goal of the earth? Tofu, ve보hu, ve호shek. Those are the goal. Hoping this goal existed. Okay, already completed. The status earth. That is the first Adam status. Regards to this, let's go to the Romans chapter 5. When we go to the Romans chapter 5, verse 12, let's read it together. Therefore, just as through one man sin entered the world, and death through sin, thus death spread to all men because all sin. So this one man is talking about that belong to one day, right? One day. So one day, one man. So all human beings, all livings, which is a panta, all livings is what happened? Sin entered to the world, right? Through one man, which means through everybody. Once each one of you are the one man. So this one man belongs to one day. And then there is another one man who is Christos Jesus that belongs to what day? Seventh day, right? Seventh day. So through one man sin entered the world, and death through the sin. And thus death spread to all men because all sinned. So this one is talking about Genesis chapter 1 verse 2. Has existed already, perfect existing, right? Tofu, bohu, behoshek. Okay. So those natural men, even though death through sin, the death spread to all men because of our sin, but they do not aware their status was in it. They do not aware. Why? Verse 13 says, for until the law. What law is talking about? The Moses law, right? The law of death. Law of death. So until you receive the Moses law on the fourth day, so what law you are under? The law of sin, which is a natural man status, right? Natural man. So until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed. Sin is not calculated when there was no law. So before the Moses law you receive, you don't feel like you were a sinner. Make sense? Because the earth status is already what? Tohu, vohu, vehoshek. Vehoshek. Darkness itself is no light at all. So sin does not impute it. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses. So that doesn't mean even though you are a natural man, you are not sinner. That doesn't mean, right? You are still sinner. But you don't understand the sin means, right? So this sin is talking about the ignorant, right? No knowledge of the Word of God. So death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those who had not sinned, according to the likeness of the transgression of Adam, who is a type of him who was to come. I mentioned before, it is not to come, right? It is not to come. In order to say to come in Greek word, what is the Greek word in come? Erkomai. Erkomai. But what is here? To melontos. Melontos. So melo, this is a verb participate present. Present. Okay? So melo is what? Intend, right? Intend. 3195, strong number. Okay? So melo is what? To intend. Be about to do. Be about to do. So this is in sense of purpose, duty, necessity, probability, possibility, or hesitation. So this is a wrong translation. So Adam is the type. Type is what? Was to come or intending. BPP is participle is intending, right? So what is Adam is intending? He says here, right? Adam intending to death. To death. So first Adam come from death, living as a dead man, and then finish as a death. Eternal death. Eternal death. So that's first Adam's intending. First Adam's intending. So before there was no light, come as a darkness and finish as what? Darkness. Because it's already what? Perfected. It is already perfected. Okay? So the tofu, and today we are going to study about that. So this is whose status? My status. Okay? Whenever you read the Bible, don't forget, Bible is talking about who? Talking about my salvation, my growing history, right? Growing history. So when I stay as a first Adam status, before I met Christos Jesus, and the earth status is my status. Before you has the light. Because Christos Jesus, he is what? True light, right? True light. So before the earth meet the heaven, who comes from the heaven, Christos Jesus, the earth status is tohu, vabohu, vehoshek. Vehoshek. So the first one is tofu. Tohu is the noun masculine singular. Noun masculine singular. Okay? And when we go to the Matthew chapter 4, Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. Is it you? Second person plural, right? It's not you. You are living, right? You are living. Este topos to kosmou. Your living is the light of the world. Look at the word, cosmos. Cosmos is what status? Masculine status, right? Masculine. Then wastiness, tofu is what status? Masculine status. Masculine status. Which is already perfected as what? Wastiness. Wastiness. Okay? So the wastiness is already perfected status, which is a masculine noun. The strong number is 8414, tofu. And when you look at the dictionary, tofu is from an unused root meaning to lie waste. Waste. A, desolation. Desolation. Wasteland. Wasteland. Place of chaos. Place of chaos. So that's the forced Adam status, the forced earth status. So forced earth is forced Adam. Okay? So desolation. Desolation. It is already barren, right? Nothing can grow. Nothing can grow. It's like a desolate. Desolation. Place of chaos. Chaos. Which means it is not organized, right? Not arranged. Confused and chaos. That's status. So that's the status talking about Creator Jehovah God meet in the waste of howling desert. Okay? You has to be howling, right? Crying. In order to meet who? Jehovah, right? So let's go to the Deuteronomy 30:10. Translate Bible first. Deuteronomy 30:10. It starts with like this, verse 1. Give ear, O heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Okay? So what needs to be happen to heaven? Heaven needs to be broaden your ear to listen, isn't it? That's why when we go to the Psalm, the heaven is established on what? Understanding, right? Understanding. So in order to have understanding, your ear has to be broadened to listen, isn't it? Because where is the heaven? We already learned, Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, heaven is inside me, right? Where is the earth? Earth is inside me too. So give ear, O heaven. So the God can speak. And hear, O earth. Earth. So we have to hear. So give ear and hear. And then the heaven and earth needs to be work together inside me, right? Instead of what? Chaos. Chaos. If you are in the tofu status, you are willing to listen or you are not willing to listen? You are not willing to listen because you don't feel necessary. You don't feel necessary. That's why we just read from the Romans chapter 5, Adam is intending to what? Intending to death. Not type of to come, okay? Intending to death. And verse 2, let my teaching drop as the rain, as the rain. So tofu status, the earth has existed tofu, wastiness. Wasted status is what? Is teaching drop in the rain or not? Not yet, right? Because first Adam status, they do not receive the rain from the heaven, isn't it? Because there was no rain. No rain. Okay? No rain. So let my teaching drop as the rain, my speech distill as the dew, as rain drops on the tender herb, and as the showers on the grass. When is the tender herb, grass is showing up in the Genesis chapter 1? Do you know? Third day. Third day. Okay, third day. What is the second day showing up? Expanse, right? Firmament. Expanse. Which is expand showing you the what? The water from the heaven, the water from the earth, right? Let them aware. Okay? You need the water. And then third day, through the teaching, the herb and then grass is showing up on the third day. On the third day. Because the one day and the second day, you are just natural man, right? Third day, you become the looking for the religious. So third day is who's studying? Abraham is the third day, right? Third day is you are looking for the religion. Religion. Because you aware. You need to rain. You need the rain. You need the rain. So once you have an experience on the days of Noah, second day, you aware the knowledge from heaven, the knowledge on the earth. Earthly knowledge and heaven's knowledge, you have a discernment, right? And then you aware, oh, I cannot just rely on the earthly knowledge. I also need heavenly knowledge, right? That's the time of what day? Second day. And then third day, so now you are looking for what? Heavenly knowledge. So some people looking for the Buddhism. Some people looking for the Islam. Some people looking for Christian. Some people looking for Confucianism. Some people looking for communism. Ism. Confucianism, Buddhism, Islamism, Christianism, etc. Because you aware you need to have the knowledge of that comes from the heaven. But you don't have a full aware, heaven is a dual form, right? So there is a true knowledge and then fake knowledge. But anyhow, you feel the necessary to looking for the heavenly knowledge. Heavenly knowledge. That's why here, my teaching drop as the rain. My speech distill as the dew, as a raindrop on the tender earth, and as a shower on the grass. For I proclaim the name of the Lord, ascribe greatness to our God. Now let's keep coming down. Verse 10. Start from verse 9. For the Lord's portion is His people. His people. So Christos Jesus used to say in the New Testament, He came to this world to looking for what? The lost sheep of Israel. Israel. So God sent Christos Jesus to love this world. He loved this world. But He looking for the lost sheep of Israel. People who are looking for the true God. People who are looking for the true knowledge. They are to become the candidate to become the Israel. We are not talking about Israel, those people who lives in the land of Israel on the map. So we're talking about Israel is a spiritual meaning. What is the Israel means? Have a power as God, right? Have a freedom as God. That's the Israel. So people who feels like God needs to know the rain that comes from the true heaven. They are the one to become the candidate of portion of His people. Jacob is the place of his inheritance. And then 10, he showed the tofu. He found him in a desert land. He found in a desert land. Look at here. Tofu, right? Midbar be'aretz. Midbar tofu, right? Tofu. He found him in a desert land and in the wasteland. A howling wilderness. He encircled him. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. Apple of his eye. 11. As an eagle stirs up its nest, hovers over its young, spreading out its wing, taking them up, carrying them on its wing. So the Lord alone led him, and there was no foreign God with him. So, verse 10 talking about the wasteland. So he found him. He found him. Here says, he means who? Yehovah, right? Yehovah. Yehovah begins to meet him. Who is him? His people. His people. Israel. Israel. The Jacob. Who will be inherit the land, right? So he begins to meet Israel, his people, in earth. Then what earth? Earth of what? Wilderness. As we see, wilderness is Midbar. Repeat after me. Midbar. Midbar. Midbar is wilderness. Midbar means, wilderness means in Hebrew, me, out of, right? Out of. Tabar. Tabar is word. Word. Okay? So, tabar comes from deber, which is to arrange. To arrange. So, what needs to be happen in wilderness? You need to arrange the word, right? To get out. To get out. That's why this me in Greek word is ek. Ek. Ek is certain origin place you have to get out of, right? Out of. That's why when we go to the Acts chapter 7, 38, when we go to Acts 7:38, we start from 30. Let's start from the 34. I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt. Talking about the Moses time, right? Moses time is what day? Fourth day, right? Fourth day. So I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt. So in Egypt status is, the Hebrew word is Mitzrayim. Repeat after me, Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is the dual form. Im, Yod Mem is the dual. So Mitzrayim is a two stone oppress your head. So that's the shape of the Egypt, Mitzrayim. You are under oppression. Oppression, okay? Of my people who are in Egypt. So Egypt symbolizes what? Cosmos, right? Which is a darkness. That symbolizes what? First Adam status, who slavery to what? Slavery to sin. Slavery to sin. So the king Pharaoh is the what? The king of this age, right? Who is the Satan, the devil. So you are under the slavery to sin means you are in Egypt. You are in Egypt. I have heard their groaning and have come down to deliver them. Okay? Because their status is what status? Tohu status, wasteness status, right? Wilderness, desert status. To deliver them, and now come, I will send you to Egypt. This Moses whom they rejected, saying, who made you ruler and a judge, is the one God sent to be a ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the angel who appeared to him in the bush. 38, he brought them. Moses brought the Israelites out after he had shown wonders and signs in the land of Egypt and in the Red Sea and in the wilderness 40 years. This is the Moses who said to the children of Israel, the Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from your brethren, him you shall hear. This is he, this is Moses, who was in the congregation in the wilderness with the angel who spoke to him on Mountain Sinai, and with our father, the one who received the living oracle to give to us. So look at the congregation. Congregation, King James translated as what? Ecclesia, that is church. That's why wilderness is what? Church. Church. So ecclesia, ek, out of, ecclesia comes from kaleo. Kaleo means invite. Invite. So Jehovah gave the invitation letter to who? Moses. And Moses delivered that invitation letter to who? The children of Israel, right? So when they accept the invitation letter that comes from the Jehovah, they will get out of the darkness, isn't it? Right? They will get out of the sin, right? Which is they will get out of the Egypt. And then move to where? Move to the wilderness church. So church is the group that received the invitation letter. Okay? So that's the among the 7-day process in Genesis chapter 1 to Genesis chapter 2 verse 3, they're talking about the 4th day, wilderness church, Moses time, in our salvation history, right? So on the 4th day, we are on the Midbar, wilderness, and then we are in the wasteness of howling desert. So wasteness is tofu. And howling desert is Yeshimon. Okay? So this is a time you aware what? You need a heavenly water, right? You need a true knowledge in order to become the children of God. But still the 4th day is what status? still does not aware, right? Because you don't know heaven is dual form. And you are not even looking for the heaven, right? Because earth status itself, the wasteness. And he begins to walk around him. He begins to understand him and instruct him. He begins to guard him as pupil of his eyes. So he's talking about the fourth day. You meet in wasteness of howling desert. But until you, ecclesia, you get out of the Egypt, you are still remain in the Egypt, under the darkness, under the wasteness. That's the first Adam status. And then let's go to the Job, chapter 12, 24, 25. Wasteness doesn't know the way or does not know the way. Does not know the way. Because totally under the darkness. Totally under the peril. Who is the devil? Satan. This one also, let's go to the English translated Bible first and then we can come back. Job 12:24. Here, he, 24, he is Jehovah, okay? He takes away the understanding of the chiefs of the people of the earth. Okay? So, who rule the earth? Death reign or righteous reign? Death reign, we just saw in the beginning, Romans chapter 5, right? Death reign. From where to where? From Adam's to where? Moses, right? From Adam's to Moses. Until you receive the invitation letter, get out of the Egypt, right? Get into the wilderness church, right? Wilderness church. So then, he takes away, Jehovah takes away the understanding of the chiefs of the people of the earth. In Greek word, chief is arche, right? Arche. So he takes away the understanding of the chiefs of the people. So who gives the knowledge until you meet Christos Jesus? The chiefs of the people give the knowledge. The God on the earth, the Satan give you knowledge. It starts like that. You have nothing but eat the fruit that comes from the what? The tree of knowledge, good and evil, right? That is the understanding of the chiefs of the people of the earth. And makes them wander in pathless wilderness. Make sense? Then they make you what? Wander, chaos, desolation, right? In pathless. So they do not know the way. Until they meet who? Christos Jesus, right? Christos Jesus is the way. Christos Jesus is the truth. Christos Jesus is the life. No one comes to Father, right? Except through Christos Jesus. So, pathless wilderness. They group in the dark without light. No light. He makes them stagger like a drunken man. So what is the status of Egypt? Drunken man. Drunken man. No light. No knowledge of God. No knowledge of God. So that's why I translate here, causing to depart. They use the hipil, verb hipil, causing to depart heart of head ministry of people of the earth. People of the earth. So about that, the head ministry of people of the earth, we can go to Ephesians 6:12. Start from 11. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wills of devil. Wills of devil. So then you are naked until you meet who? Christos Jesus, right? Until you meet Christos Jesus. You don't know where you are naked. So naked status is same as tofu, wasteness, confusion, chaos, desolation. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wills of the devil. For we do not wrestle against the flesh and blood, but against principality. Look at the principality. Arche. Which is a beginning status. Arche is beginning, right? That's why when we go to the John chapter 1 verse 1, and arche status, right? First Adam status, arche. So, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against who? Arche. Against what? First Adam status, right? Against tofu, bofu, vabohu status, right? Principality, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against the spiritual host of wickedness in the heavenly place. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. So what that meaning is, until you met the Christos Jesus. Tofu status is what status? You are naked, right? And then instead of stand, what happened? You are drunken, which means you fell asleep. You are staggered, right? You are under death. You are dead. Okay? Because of what? Because of head ministerial people of the earth. So the death is reign. Death reign to the first Adam, the earth. And he began to cause his ministry to wander in tofu, in wasteness. So you nothing but wandering, chaos, right? And his ministry began to group darkness. We haven't learned yet the hoshek. Tohu, babohu, be, hoshek. Darkness. First Adam says. So hoshek means what? Lo or. Lo means no light. No knowledge at all. No knowledge. And he began to cause his ministry to wander like a drunkard. So that's the first earth. So first earth go through meet the Christos Jesus. It needs to be as a pure virgin, right? To meet Christos Jesus, to become one on the seventh day through the sixth day and seventh day. So that's the still first Adam, tofu status. Tofu. It's a drunkard. No light, darkness, and no way. In wasteness, no way. There's no way to save through the Christos Jesus. Okay? And then the last study about the tofu, wasteness, we can go to Isaiah 59:4. Let's go to translate Bible first. 59:4, Isaiah. Start from 1. The Lord's hand is not shortened, that he cannot save, nor his ear heavy, that he cannot hear. But your iniquity have separated you from your God, and your sin have hidden his face from you, so that he will not hear. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies. Your tongue has muttered perversity. No one calls for justice, nor does any plead for truth. They trust in empty words and speak lies. They conceive evil, bring forth iniquity. They hatch viper's egg, weave the spider's web. He who eats of their eggs dies, and from that which is crushed, viper breaks out. Their web will not become garment, nor will they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hand. Their feet run to evil, they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, wasting and destruction are in their path. The way of peace they have not known, and there is no justice in their ways. They have made themselves crooked paths. Whoever takes that way shall not know peace. No peace. So the Lord is not shortened. He cannot save, nor his ear heavy that he cannot hear. Okay. Remember the Matthew chapter 4. the Satan test the Son of Man, Christos Jesus, right? And then make this stone to bread, right? Is Christos Jesus can do that or cannot do that? He can do that, right? He can do that. Because his hand is not shortened, right? And that he cannot save, and his ear heavy that he cannot hear. He's able to. Remember as you remember, what is the stone in the Hebrew? Eben, right? Eben. What is the sun? Ben, right? Ben. So sun is the living bread, right? So sun make the Eben stone to making the living bread, the sun, right? But Christos Jesus can do that, but he will not forcing to do that, right? So in order to stone, I myself is a stone. I need to turn into bread, right? So people can eat from me. Eat the word of God. The bread is the word of God. People can eat word of God, right? So they can be saved. So I myself is the stone. So how can we become the son? The aleph has to be dropped, right? Which is through the learning processing. In order to do that, what needs to be go through? The faith, right? You have to hear the word of God, and then what? Once you hear, and faith, right? So faith comes through what? Hearing the word of God. Rema God, right? Rema God. But Jehovah enough to save. But why? Because your iniquity have separated you from your God. That's why about that, Isaiah 59, Romans chapter 3, Apostle Paul mentioned about that. We can go to the verse 10. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none who understand. There is none who seeks after God. So when is the righteousness processing start? When you understand God, when you seek after God, right? Until that time, you still what? Under sin. Under death reigns, right? That is the tofu status, right? And they have all turned aside. They have together become unprofitable. There is none who does good. No, not one. Their throat is an open tomb. With their tongue they have practiced the deceit. The poison of apes is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Same status shown in Isaiah chapter 59, isn't it? That's the tofu status. Tofu, wastiness. So translate the Hebrew text into here we just read. None inviting in righteousness. Tzedek. Tzedek is righteousness. So no one inviting in righteousness. Okay. So what does that mean? I just mentioned. The Jehovah give an invitation letter to who? Moses, right? Moses give the invitation letter to who? Children of Israel, right? So Jehovah invite. And then same thing, they have to what? Receive the invitation. But not inviting. So Jehovah hand is long enough to save us, right? But they do not invite the Jehovah's hand. Not inviting in righteousness. So what is the righteousness? Not inviting to understand. Not inviting to seeking after God. Okay? Not being judged in faith. Emunah. To trust upon wastiness. They are only trust what? Wastiness. They are not looking for the truth. And to speak of falsehood. To conceive toil, amar. And to bear wickedness, aven. So that's the trust wastiness. not inviting in righteousness, speak of falsehood, conceive toil, bear wickedness. What status? First Adam status, the earth status. It's already completed status. So now we understand the tofu status right now, right? Okay, next word is bohu. Bohu. Repeat after me. Bohu. Bohu. Same thing, noun, masculine, singular. Noun, masculine, singular. So masculine, singular, same as what I just mentioned. Your living is the light of the world. The cosmos is masculine, right? So masculine has to be what? Has to be changed to what? Feminine, isn't it? Feminine. Feminine. What is the masculine? Masculine is the giver, right? Who is the masculine in here? I just mentioned. Head ministry of people of the earth. They are the masculine, right? Who is what? Based upon Galatians chapter 4. Guardians and stewards. Which giving you true light or fake light? Fake light, fake truth, fake knowledge. So then masculine has to change to feminine. What is the feminine role? Receiving, right? Receiver is the feminine, right? So that is the same. Emptiness is bohu, bohu. Strong number is 922. From an unused root meaning to be empty, empty. Bohu is empty. Bohu is empty. So the dictionary says emptiness and void, void. Okay. Tofu is what? Wasteness. Bohu is what? Emptiness, emptiness. And look at the meaning of the alphabet. Bohu. Bo, bet. Bet is what? House, right? House. And then hey is what? Hoping. Hoping house. Hoping house. Okay. Once your house is emptied, right? Something needs to be filled, isn't it? Right? So who can be a Ben? Ben is the house, right? I mean son, right? We just say a Ben is what? Stone, right? A Ben is a stone, right? And then Ben is what? Son, right? Son, right? So dropping the aleph, which is my human nature, right? Human nature. So stone needs to change to son, right? But look at the bohu. Bet. Bet means what? House, right? Bo. Who. Hey is what? Hoping, right? Hoping, right? So ben is become the house. The ben, noon is what? The fish, right? Fish. Which is upright fish, right? Justice fish, right? And then the noon, this is what? Banded fish, right? Banded fish. And then banded fish through the prayer, supplication status to become what? Upright fish, right? Through the praying, you become what? House of God, right? So praying does not mean the prayer we know, right? The Lord's Prayer we're talking about, Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. The Lord's Prayer. Lord's Prayer is action, right? Lord's Prayer is action. The Father who is in heaven, heaven living, right? Plural living. So whoever becomes the heaven living, and their life is what life? Praying life, praying life. So Lord's Prayer is not just to kneel down and then just murmuring, playing. That's praying. That is not talking about the Lord's Prayer. Lord's Prayer consists of command, God's command. And then confess who become the heavens living. So, bohu is what? Hoping house. To become the what? Upright fish house, right? To become the house of God. House of God. That's why house, hoping house, house to hope. That is the emptiness. You have to fill your house through the what? Through the wisdom of God, who is Christos Jesus. Christos Jesus. That's why when we go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 14, the unity, faith, and what? Knowledge, right? The Son of God, Son of Man, right? To the fullness, the stature of the Christos Jesus. To become a house, you need to be hope. So empty space needing to be what? Needs to be filled. So bohu. So waste status. Desolate status. Okay, desolate status. By accepting the water from the heaven, the house has to be full, right? The land has to be filled. Makes sense? But the land does not have to filled through the knowledge of good and evil, right? The house has to be filled with the knowledge of God. Tree of knowledge, right? A tree of life, right? Tree of life. So from this bohu, the verb is, how do you pronounce? Can you pronounce? Abba, right? Abba. Abba is a void within oneself that desire to be filled, to be willing, consent, desire, accept. So in order to be filled, to become a adult Christian, mature Christian, in order to become a son of man, son of God, children of God, you have to have what? Willing. You need to have what? Consent, desire, and then accept. Okay? Those willingness, consent, desire, accept is needed to be filled to become the house. Make sense? And from this verb, feminine noun is made from here. So masculine noun is emptiness, bohu. The feminine noun, how do you pronounce? Teba. Teba is an empty container to be filled. That is what? Ark and box. What day? Noah's Ark we're talking about. Noah's Ark. Noah box. That's why he filled a box. He filled the ark and box. All things, right? Not only Noah get into that ark, right? All things, everything, either clean and unclean animals, beasts, right? Everything get on this box to be filled, Okay? So emptiness needs to be filled. But inside us, it has to be what? Separated, right? Separated. That's why when we go to the Corinthian, Apostle Paul is talking about other Jesus, right? What is other Jesus means? We have to know Jesus Christ, right? And then he talking about different gospel. That means we have to know the gospel, right? And he's talking about different spirit, right? That means we have to know Spirit, which is the Holy Spirit, right? So unless we have those discernment between Christos Jesus and another Jesus, and between the true gospel and the different gospel, and between the Holy Spirit and different spirit, until we have a discernment, we cannot be fulfill the purpose to become a children of God. So first Adam status is bohu, hoping to be filled, hoping to become the house, but still emptiness, right? Emptiness. Still need to waiting for the water that comes from the heaven, the teaching, lesson. So those are the words, bohu, abba, teba. Masculine noun, bohu, feminine noun, teba. Okay. Let's look at the couple of words that is talking about bohu. And we can go to the Jeremiah 4:22-23. Let's go to the Translate Bible. Jeremiah 4:22. Let's read it together. For my people are foolish. They have not known me. They are silly children, and they have no understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. I beheld the earth, and indeed it was without form and void, and the heavens they have no lights. So do you see the bohu here, tofu. We just learned that, right? Tofu. And they talk about here without form. But tofu, we translate how? Wasteness, right? Tofu. And then, bofu. And they translate void, and we translate emptiness. So tofu, bofu. What status? Eretz status. The earth, right? The earth. And the earth status is at. Beginning to the end. So the earth. So which means this earth. Beginning to the end. What status? Tofu, bohu status, right? What does that mean? Just starting as the natural man, finish as the what? Natural man. No growing. Think about like this. From the elementary school to the high school, how many years education? 12 years, right? So you got the graduation, high school is 12th grade, isn't it, right? And then you have, after that is a college and whatever case may be, your personal goal, right? So at haaretz, behold, tohu, bohu. What does that mean? He has a graduation certificate or does not? No graduation certificate. So your parents gonna so much disappointed, isn't it? And you yourself too, I think, right? How can you live in this world without having the knowledge? Without having an education process? Right? So spiritual life is the same. You need to keep what? Growing, right? Keep growing. How can we grow? Through the Word of God, knowledge of God. That's why I used to say always, right? How many days processing? 7 days processing. So compare 7 days processing. 7 days, 1 day does not mean 24 hours. We know that. That's the period, right? Period. Some people can stop 1 day, 2 days, etc., right? Like here says. The earth without form and void. And the heavens, what happened? No light. So no growing at all. You just come as a natural man and finish as a natural man. But our goal is what? To become what? Natural man or spiritual man? Spiritual man. Who is the last Adam? Last Adam is the life-giving spirit. Not the natural man. Spirit. You have to become the spirit to provide, to make life, to deliver the life of God. But this earth has this problem, right? This earth has problem. Okay? I beheld the mountain, and indeed they trembled, and all the hill moved back and forth. So Christos Jesus said, when you have a faith, you can take this mountain to another side, right? But they're just shaking. Okay? And I beheld, and indeed there was no man. No ha-Adam. Who is the ha-Adam? Remember the Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. Ha-Adama. Who is ha-Adama? Hoping the Adam. Hoping the Christos Jesus, who is the second Adam, right? So second Adam. No second Adam. So if you don't meet the Christos Jesus, if you don't learn from the Christos Jesus, what happened? Can you grow? Impossible. You cannot become a spiritual man at all. And all the birds of heaven had fled. Who is the bird in the heaven? The Satan. The Satan is the bird, based upon the Matthew chapter 13, right? So, had fled. I beheld, and indeed the fruitful land was a wilderness, and all its cities were broke down at the presence of the Lord by his fierce anger. So let's go to my translation, 20-23. For my people foolish, which means perverse. For me, beginning to the end, right? His ministry has not known. So his ministry, my living does not know, beginning to the end. God's beginning, God's end. Silly song ministry. Silly song ministry. Okay? No knowledge at all. No light. And his ministry not being understood. Wise ministry to do bad, and to do well his ministry have not known. 23. I have observed the whole the earth, beginning earth to the finish earth. And behold, wasteness, emptiness towards the heaven, and no lights. His ministry has no lights. No lights. So this emptiness and this weightiness, bohu, tofu, we just learned tofu, but bohu, emptiness. This has to be filled what? Filled with the light, right? What is the light? Knowledge, right? Knowledge of God. Let's go to Hosea chapter 4. Let's read it together. Hear the word of the Lord, your children of Israel. For the Lord brings a charge against the inhabitants of the land. There is no truth or mercy or knowledge of God in the land. But look at the land. Many places they translate land, but that is the one. Hebrew word is eretz. Eretz. Eretz is the earth, the one we are learning right now. Okay? So, ba'aretz, which is in the land. In the land. In the land. But here it says, knowledge of God. Is that the God? Elohim, right? Elohim. So, da'at is knowledge. And then ayin means no. So, no knowledge of ministry to hope Almighty in the land. In the land. So, the land start the what? Ministry to hope Almighty to become El, right? To become the last era. We already study elementary, the Elohim already. So, no knowledge of Elohim, right? No knowledge of Elohim. Okay? No truth, no mercy, no knowledge, right? By swearing and lying, killing and stealing, and committing adultery, they break all restraint with bloodshed upon bloodshed. Therefore, the land, is that land? Same thing, right? Therefore, Eretz, the Haaretz, land will mourn, and everyone who dwells there will waste away with the beasts of the field and the birds of the air. Even the fish of the sea will be taken away. Now let no man contend or rebuke another, for your peoples are like those who contend with the priest. Therefore you shall stumble in the day, the prophet also shall stumble with you in the night. I will destroy your mother. And verse 6, my people are destroyed what? Why? For lack of knowledge. So the verse 1 talking about no knowledge of Elohim, right? No knowledge of ministry to whole Almighty. Okay? So that's why they are destroyed, because they don't have a knowledge. So bohu, emptiness, has to be filled with the knowledge of God, knowledge of ministry to hope Almighty. That means what? To become the kingdom of heaven living. Heaven living. It's a plural, right? Not kingdom of heaven, right? Kingdom of heaven living, which is ministry to hope Almighty. Almighty. Because you have rejected what? Knowledge. You rejected the knowledge. What does that mean? You start with the 4th grade to graduate the 12th grade in the high school, but what has happened? You rejected the knowledge, right? You get out of the school system, right? You're not willing to keep on running, right? Okay? So bohu is what? Emptiness. Abba, we just learned. Abba is what? Willingness, right? Willing. Consent, right? And accept. Make sense? You have to willingness. But you have rejected knowledge. Then because of that, what happened? God will also reject you. So you still remain as tofu, bohu, right? Wasteness, emptiness. I will reject you from being priest for me. So who is the priest? Who finished the 12 years in high school, same as what? 7 days process, right? You are the royal priest. The Peter say that, right? So priest, being priest for me, which is to become the children of God for me. Because you have forgotten the law of your God, I also will forget your children. Your children. Okay? So that's the emptiness. And towards the heaven, no light of his ministry. Okay? One more verse, let's go. Psalm 81, 10, 12, it also talking about willingness. The verb is abba, desire, accept, content, willingness. Let's go to Psalm 81:10. Translate Bible. Start with the 8. Let's read it together. Hear, O my people, and I will admonish you, O Israel, if you will listen to me. There shall be no foreign god among you, nor shall you worship any foreign god. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, I will fill it. I will fill it. Okay? So, why did the Lord God, Jehovah, get you out of the Egypt? What's the purpose? So God gives you rain on the land, right? On the earth, right? So you can observe the rain, right? That's what it's saying thing. Open your mouth. So why you went to the wilderness church? To open your mouth, right? So what is come down from the heaven on the wilderness? Manna, right? Manna comes from the heaven, right? So who is the manna? Christos Jesus is the manna, right? But all Israelites, they destroyed because they ate manna without knowing the what? Without knowing the spiritual meaning. They are taking as a spiritual food instead of, they are taking as physical food instead of spiritual food that gives you eternal life. So you accept the invitation through Jehovah, through Moses, and then get out of the Egypt, get out of the darkness, ecclesia, to be in the 4th day wilderness church, then you need to start to open your mouth wide, right? So you can be filled with manna, with the spiritual food. So you can become son. So you can become son. So you can become hoping house to become the house of God. Okay? Verse 11, but, let's read together, but my people would not heed my voice, and Israel would have none of me. So I gave them over their own stubborn heart, to walk in their own counsel. Oh, that my people would listen to me, that Israel would walk in my ways. That's what God's willingness, isn't it? Okay? So we have to consent. We have to desire. We have to meet. Same desire, right? Between myself and God. Until we desire, what's the relationship between God and myself? What relationship? Friend relationship or enemy relationship? Enemy relationship, right? That called the James chapter 4 verse 4 says, adulterers, adulteresses, right? Why? You become the friend of what? Friend of the world, right? Instead of you become the friend of God. Friend of God. So go back to my translation. I, Jehovah, your Elohim. I, Jehovah, your Elohim, your ministry to Almighty, causing to ascend out of earth of Egypt. You know, Allah. Allah has a two different meaning. In Greek word is epi, ana. What is epi? Relationship, right? Epi, connecting, right? Ana is what? Move up, right? So that's the Allah means in Hebrew word. Allah, ascend. So invitation, Connecting, take you up to heaven, right? Earth status moving up to the heaven status. So causing to ascend. That's why get you out of the Egypt, out of earth of Egypt. Enlarge your mouth, and I begin to feel. You know, those little small bird, right? The mother bird came to feel, right? But in order to feel, what did the baby bird do? Open the mouth widely listening. We have to show that attitude to the God, to the word of God. 11, but my people have not heard to my voice, and Israel have not desired Abba. So, not hoping to become the house, right? Not desiring, right? Not desire to me. And I begin to send away in hardness of heart of his ministry, and his ministry begin to work in counsel ministry of his ministry. In his ministry. Regards to this, we can go to the 2 Thessalonians 2:11. Start from 9. The coming, let's read, lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, which means they do not open widely their mouth, right? That they might be saved. 11. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie. Okay? Look at the delusion. Plane. Plane is what? Error to deceive. Deceit. Delusion. Okay? So, believe what? Believe lie, right? Believe lie. So God allowed them to do it. Okay? Which means God gave it up. God leave you alone. Because you are not open your mouth widely to fill in. For who? For who is emptiness, you are willing to open your mouth to accept the rain that comes from heaven, right? That's why this reason God will send them strong delusion. Okay? They should believe the lie. 12. That they all might be condemned. Look at the condemned. Krino, judgment. Who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Have pleasure. Unrighteousness. That means walk in counsel ministry of his ministry. Go to do your own way instead of Christos Jesus' way. Okay, if you want to go, if you don't want to open wide your mouth, then, fill it up. Earthly knowledge. Just stay as it is. Tofu, vohu, behoshek. Wasteness, emptiness, darkness is already completed. You stop to grow yourself to become a children of God. That's why we have to have those clear goal, okay, to become the spiritual man, which is the last era. By meeting Christos Jesus on the sixth day. Let's do two more, okay? So we can finish the bohu, okay? Isaiah 1:19 through 20, another one, desire. We can go to Translate Bible, 1:19 Isaiah. Let's read it together. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. Land is the earth, right? If you are willing, Abba, right? Hoping house, right? Hoping house to be filled, right? If you are willing to be filled. And Shama means not obedient. Shama means listen. Shama is listening. Okay? So if your ministry begin to will, begin to desire, and have perfect, right? Have listen. Tov haaretz, and then tokelo. Your ministry begin to eat good of the land, good of the earth, good of the earth. But, different way, 20, but if you refuse and rebel, you shall devour by the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. So what willingness you have? You have a willingness, you have a refuse and rebel. Okay? So my translation, if your ministry begin to desire and have heard, not disobedient, right? Shama is heard, listen. Your ministry begin to eat good of the earth. And if your ministry begins to refuse, have rebelled, sword your ministry begin to be eaten, because mouth of Jehovah has spoken. Okay? So, what is the meaning of eat good of the earth? You have to eat the good fruit of the earth, isn't it? So when earth receive the rain, then the earth will be bring forth the fruit, right? Bring forth the fruit. What kind of fruit? What kind of fruit? Okay? We can go to the James 5:18. And he prayed again. Here talking about the times of Elijah. He prayed again, and the heaven gave rain. The earth produce its fruit. So in order to the earth produce the fruit, what needs to be happen? The heaven has to give a what? The rain, the doctrine, teaching, instruction. So once the earth receive the rain and bring forth the fruit, what kind of fruit? Romans 6:21-22. What fruit did you have then in the things of which you are now ashamed? For the end of those things is death. So if you do not receive the rain, if you do not listen and then open up your mouth to eat the word of God, then what fruit? The earth will bring forth the death, right? Fruit of death. But now, having been set free from sin, having become slaves of God, you have your fruit to holiness, and the end, everlasting life. So you're talking about fruit of death, fruit of everlasting life. So the earth desire and then full with the word of God, then you will have the fruit of everlasting life. But if you deny and reject, you will have what? Fruit of death, fruit of death. So in order to do that, the earth go through what? The training, isn't it? Training. Let's go to Hebrew 12:11. No chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful. Nevertheless, afterward it yields the what fruit? Peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So eating the lesson, that is the rain from heaven, and then go through what process? Training process, right? Training process. Then finally you will have what? Hebrew, this is 12, Hebrew 13, chapter 13, 15. Let's go to 15, verse 15. Therefore, by him let us continually offer the sacrifice of praise to God. That is the fruit of our lips. You have fruit of our lips, your lips. And giving thanks to his name. Giving thanks to his name. Okay. So then once you have the fruit of lips, through the training, by observing the rainforest, right? And then you will have how many fruit? When we go to Revelation chapter 22, how many fruit? 12 fruit, right? What is the 12 means? 2. Transformation. 10. To be rich, right? Transform to be rich. Revelation 22 verse 1, he showed me pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding from the throne of God and of the Lamb. Where is the location of the throne of God of the Lamb? The water of life comes from there, right? Water of life comes from there, right? So go to the Genesis chapter 2. Okay? The water of life comes from where? Eden, right? Eden. And then water in the where? Water in the garden, right? And then it go down Pishon, Gihon, Hittegel, Euphrates, right? It delivered those river of life, right? Life. So throne of God of the Lamb, based upon the Genesis chapter 2. Where is the throne of God and the Lamb? The name is Eden, right? Eden. Then where is the Eden? Based upon the tabernacle. The most holy place, right? So the most holy place is the Eden. The most holy place is the throne of God and of the Lamb, right? And where is the location? Where is Eden? Is it Eden in the between the Iraq and the Iran in the map? Because there is a Euphrates, the river existing. So where is the Eden? Where is the most holy place? Inside me, isn't it? That's why it is a Bereshit. Bereshit. In my sealed head. Where is the location of heaven? Inside me. Where is the location of the earth? Inside me. Where is Eden? Inside me. That's why Christos Jesus says, there's nothing I can show the sign of what? The days of Jonah sign, right? And then I'll be in the fish belly, like Jonah was in the fish belly, 3 days, 3 nights. I'll be in the heart of where? Of the earth. 3 days, 3 nights in the heart of the earth. So where is in the heart of the earth? Talking about the tabernacle, Eden, and throne of the God and the Lamb. That's why when we go to the John, whoever believes in me have the what? Living water, right? Living water. That's what it's talking about. And verse 2, in the middle of its street and on either side of the river was the tree of life, which bore how many fruit? 12 fruit. 12 fruit. So we'll have those 12 fruit. 12 fruit. Good fruit. Good fruit. And then if you refuse and rebel, okay, the sword. This sword talking about Revelation 1:16. He had in his right hand the 7th star. Out of his mouth went a sharp, two-edged sword. Two-edged sword. This is not the Macaria, right? There's 2 different swords in the Bible. Look at this one. From Paya. From Paya is what? Judgment, right? Judgment. From Paya. His countenance was like the sun shining in its strength. From Paya. That sword, your ministry begins to be eaten. Because mouth of God, Jehovah has spoken. And the last one, the ark. Ark is the box, right? To be filled, right? Filled with what? Filled with the knowledge of God, right? Filled with the knowledge of God, that water, right? That's why the second day, days of Noah, and then in Genesis chapter 1, the second day talking about what? Expanse, right? Firmament. And then the heavenly water, earthly water is talking about, right? So we are going to study in the future. And let's look at the Genesis 7, chapter 1. And Jehovah begins to say, enter you and all your house towards the what? Ark. Ark. Ha-teba. Because whole of you I have seen righteous for my appearing ministry in this generation. So Noah is the one of the men who is righteousness. He have seen righteous. That's why Noah is the only one to enter. Noah and his house towards the enter the ark. Enter the ark. Teba. Because he is the one to be filled. Then where is the ark? You know, people say the ark is in the Turkey area. And then one of the U.S. pilot took a picture during the World War I or something like that, and there was a black things showing in the deep in the iceberg in the Turkey area. Ararat. There was a mountain Ararat. That kind of article I read when I was like a university student. So then the ark is in the Turkey. The country name is Turkey. Ark is inside me. I myself is the ark, isn't it? Right? Because I myself has to aware the heavenly knowledge and the earthly knowledge has those discernment and filled with the God's knowledge. So I become the mouth of God. That's why Noah sinned. Jehovah said, I have sinned righteous for my appearing ministry in this generation. When we go to the Genesis chapter 6 verse 9, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, just man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with God. Noah walked with God. Is a God. Noah et ha Elohim, beginning the ministry of Almighty, beginning to the end. Noah halak. Noah had walked. Et ha Elohim, whole Elohim process. He did it. That's why he himself become the ark. That's why he himself does not thrown into the flood. Because ark is above the flood, isn't it, right? Above the water, right? Cannot sunken into the water. But everybody else sunken into the earth. Why? They refuse to feeling, right? They rebel to be feeling, right? And they destroyed because of what? Hosea says, because of what? Lack of knowledge. They denied. Jehovah's hand is long enough to save you. But you refuse. You rebel. So today we study the earth status, tohu. What's the translation we did? Wasteness. Bohu. Emptiness, right? Emptiness. And then next week we are going to study the third one, and darkness.